Kenji Ken Sato, a talented yet egotistical baseball player, returns to Japan. Despite being on the brink of a championship victory in America, reporter Ami Wakita links his abrupt departure to rumored unresolved family matters. However, Ken's real reason for returning is to fight kaiju, or giant monsters, as the superhero Ultraman, a responsibility reluctantly passed down from his father, Professor Sato. After battling the monster Niranga, Ken feels unappreciated due to citizen complaints. He vents his frustration about never wanting to be Ultraman and reminisces about his recently missing mother, Emiko. Dr. Onda, chief officer of the Kaiju Defense Force, or KDF, holds a grudge against Ultraman and Kaiju, supervises a transport team delivering a secret package. They are pursued by the winged bird-like kaiju, Gigantron. Ken abandons a game to fight the beast, who loses consciousness on top of the package, revealing it to be an egg. An infant Gigantron soon hatches, and Ultraman takes her to protect her from the KDF. The baby imprints on him as her parent. With the help of his AI assistant Mina, Ken reluctantly raises the baby, naming her Emmy after his mother. Estranged from his father, Ken struggles with his career and new parental duties. He seeks advice from Ami, a parent herself, who acknowledges the challenges but also the rewards of parenthood. Over time, Ken becomes emotionally attached to Emmy and teaches her to play baseball. One night, Ken cancels an interview with Emmy when Emmy escapes and runs around Tokyo. Onda recognizes Emmy as the missing asset and demands Ultraman hand her over. Ultraman refuses and accidentally injures Emmy's shoulder while trying to save her. He takes Emmy home and finally asks his father for help. Sato heals Emmy and helps Ken raise her. Onda reveals to the KDF's captain his plan to use Emmy's echolocation to locate the undiscovered Kaiju Island and destroy all monsters, justifying it as necessary to protect humanity after losing his family in a Kaiju Ultraman incident. At a family cabin, Ken and Sato reconcile as Ken understands the dual struggle of being a parent and Ultraman. However, Emmy enters a pupal stage, and the KDF attacks them, injuring Sato. Ken places his father in a healing tube at home. Emmy hatches from her cocoon with wings and hears her birth mother's call across Tokyo Bay, flying towards her. The KDF soon attack Ken's home, destroying Mina and causing his father's tube to disappear into the sea. Ultraman tracks Emmy to the middle of Tokyo Bay, where they encounter a mechanized Gigantron. Ultraman attacks, but stops upon noticing flesh beneath the metal, realizing it's not a machine, but the original Gigantron, still alive and armored. Exhausting his energy, Ultraman reverts to Ken, but is saved by his father in Ultra form, Ultra Dad. Emmy manages to break the KDF's control over Gigantron. Onda transforms the KDF craft into a giant mecha and battles the two Ultras and Kaiju, blaming Ultra Dad for his family's death. Onda is defeated but triggers a self-destruct sequence. Ultraman forms a barrier around himself and the mecha. Onda watches videos of his family one last time before the detonation. Later, Ami interviews Ken, who survived but now has an injured shoulder. She notes Ken's recent maturity, which she attributes to his family. He shares a voicemail from his mother, expressing her hope that Ken reconciles with his father and explaining that their decisions as parents come from a place of love to prepare him for life. Ken and Sato, with the help of Emmy and Gigantron, succeed in finding the Kaiju Island. In a mid-credit scene, Emiko contacts Ken for help, revealing that she is stuck on Ultraman's home planet, Nebula M78. In Ultraman Rising, baseball prodigy Ken Sato is the human alias of Ultraman. Ken struggles to balance his major league career with his kaiju fighting responsibilities. His arrogance is a defining trait, although it only seems to matter when the plot needs a push. Ken avoids his doting father, Professor Sato, blaming him for not protecting his mother, who goes missing early in the story. In a flashback, Sato tells Ken that the key to being a hero is finding balance. With help from his robotic assistant Mina, Ken takes on the responsibility of caring for Emmy, a baby kaiju discovered after a battle with the dragon Gigantron. This puts him at odds with Dr. Onda, the stern, militaristic leader of the Kaiju Defense Force. Ken is raised by a community, despite rejecting all his father's calls and struggling to respond to the nosy but well-meaning journalist Ami Wakita, a single mom with a young, Ultraman-obsessed daughter. Ami helps steer Ken in the right direction, but it's Mina who does most of the work, caring for both Emmy and Ken. Ken's father eventually steps in, but only when it's time to rescue Ultraman from his psychological complexities. The makers of Ultraman Rising seemingly aim to appeal to all viewers, a challenge that becomes evident whenever Ken is the focus. Some of his dialogue doesn't match the rest of the movie's DreamWorks-like tone, like when rhetorically wonders aloud, "Is this the part where the villain sends a hidden force that we didn't know about?" It's also puzzling why one Ken-centric scene is scored with the Sex Pistols pretty vacant. At least Emmy moves and acts sensibly, though her wobbly physical movements and expressive facial features mainly stand out compared to her human counterparts' inarticulate facial features and stiff body language. The movie's voice cast does what they can to jumpstart their lifeless characters, but there's only so much spin you can put on awkward placeholder lines like, "Someday when you have kids of your own, you'll understand." Thankfully, Ultraman Rising finds its footing whenever its title hero takes center stage. The work on the dorsal film Visitor from the Land of Light seems to have inspired the movie's team of computer animators, focusing on the ways superhuman giants move around each other, rather than how they gesture at their deeper feelings or motives, also plays to the filmmaker's creative strengths. More than anything else, Ultraman Rising lacks a noteworthy version of what means to be a parent, let alone an adult struggling to juggle multiple roles. The movie is fun, if a bit staid, when it's in all monsters attack mode, but it doesn't stand out whenever it requires more of your attention. Thank you very much for watching the whole video. And if you have a movie or TV show that you want us to cover, just comment it down below. We'll make a video of it in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our playlist for more recaps.